Well, the group started almost 17 or 18 years ago with a few of us getting together and talking about what it would be like if we committed to 20 years together.
We're getting of the age where things were starting to fall apart in some people's lives, and maybe the way to hold things together would have more men around you and men praying for you, holding you up, knowing what's really going on.
I got a phone call that said, we got 10 guys we want to put together for 20 years. And at that time in my life, my spiritual life was really, really strong, really good. Knew who I was, knew where I was going.
I was a seeker at that time in the religious vernacular, that I wanted something, I needed men, I knew it. And I was struggling with secrets in my life at that time.
It's real talk in this group, real problems. There's not that religious spirit of everyone here has all the right answers and everyone has this expectation that you got to meet a certain standard, and if you don't meet that standard, there's a certain amount of judgment or criticism. No, it's like, let's just be real.
I hate the question, what's God doing in your life, or what are you doing? And you don't want to go down there and say, well, I castrated 6 bulls last week. Does that count for anything?
Early on, I think that the real purpose was met in that we've been through a whole lot. And you would imagine with 7 to 8 guys going through life together, personally, we've lost a child, and the great thing about that day was he died in his sleep, and I was already at the office, and Nancy called, and within 5 to 8 minutes, there were 3 of the guys in this group were at the house.
And this group is here for you in your high moments and your low moments. And when people are there for you, when you have wins and when you have losses, that builds a loyalty unlike anything else.
I'm in recovery from addiction. I have had a very successful asset management company, managed a lot of money, very successful in the world since. And I finally, I hit my bottom, and with my wife in tears, the first person I called was Nick, and got that secret out.
As a man, I wanted to grow up, and at the end of my life, my tombstone and epitaph say he was a great father, he was a great boss, he was a great Christian, he was a great husband. And I blew it in every category.
And I pled guilty to a federal charge. I am not proud of it, but I made a mistake. I signed some documents I shouldn't have signed, and actually spent time in a federal prison.
And everything I didn't want to be as a man, I was. And so I kept coming to the group. They asked me, do you want to come? And I thought my whole life was about to dissolve.
Going through enough stuff, for lack of a better term, together knocks off or chips off the inauthentic parts. And so you end up with an authentic relationship that ultimately builds you up, edifies.
I had failed so much, I didn't believe in myself anymore. And so to have the freedom to fail made me want to succeed.
I've had my butt kicked by these guys publicly in a group setting. On the other hand, when I've been at the lowest, come around and pick me up.
You really have these kind of relationships and this kind of structure for the benefit of the crises of life. And therefore, sometimes you may feel like you're going through the motions, but in reality, you're setting the stage for relationships for the benefit of how to deal with the crises of life when they happen.
We've all made mistakes, we've struggled, but we've all been here together. And that band of brothers kind of concept has been with us since the get-go.
The camaraderie, the goofing off, the abusing each other, the sarcasm that I needed, but I wouldn't get it on my own. They reached out to me and sort of brought it out of me. And
the sign of affection and love is that, we just rib you, and they're constantly aggravating one another and just joking with one another and, all kind of things like that. So humor is a constant.
It's fun, because if it stops being fun and it becomes a duty, I have enough duty in my life.
The greatest thing for me I've seen is I'm surrounded now by a bunch of guys who are extremely mature in their faith, have been through hell and back, and are walking better because of it, are standing straight, their families are intact,
For me, this group was, quote, the power greater than myself that we use in the 12-step program, because at that point, that's how God used them through the body of Christ to really love me until I could start loving myself.
And these guys helped me to keep walking. And I love them all in different ways, and they all have different strengths. And we're all quirky, weird guys. And there isn't a whole lot of spiritual, religious stuff about us. It's just guys trying to make the journey.
That the payoff is worth the risk. You know, it's tough going it alone, and I think that's probably most men's experience. And that it won't feel easy at first, and it won't be 3 sessions and suddenly you click and you get it. But it's worth the risk, and that over time, having other men around you and being able to go to them and ask for counsel, or and flip around and say, in other cases, to come alongside them and help them through tough times, is worth the risk.